Καλησπέρα και καλωσορίσατε στη διάλεξη της ΗΑΝΝΑΗ ΒΟΑΖ με τίτλο «Η Καμπάλα της ισορροπημένης ζωής. Πώς να φροντίσουμε τον εαυτό μας πνευματικά, συναισθηματικά και σωματικά». Η διάλεξη θα γίνει στα αγγλικά, αλλά υπάρχουν ακουστικά με ταυτόχρονη μετάφραση από τον Ανδρέα, ευχαριστούμε, στην είσοδο στην Νίνα. Όποιος το χρειάζεται και δεν το έχει πάρει ακόμα,
να πάρουμε.
Στις πολύ ασχολημένες ζωές μας, όπου τρέχουμε, είναι πολύ εύκολο να ξεχνάμε να φροντίζουμε τον εαυτό μας. Είτε πνευματικά, είτε σωματικά, είτε συναισθηματικά ή και τα τρία μαζί. Κάποτε υπήρχε ένας ραβίνος που είπε: όταν μιλάω με κάποιον και τον προτρέπω να μελετήσει λίγο τη Τωρά, να πάει λίγο στη συναγωγή, εκείνος μου λέει: είμαι πολύ ασχολημένος, δεν έχω χρόνο. Τον ρωτάω: με τι είσαι τόσο ασχολημένος? Και μου απαντάει: με τη δουλειά μου. Τον ρωτάω λοιπόν: και γιατί δουλεύεις τόσο πολύ? Μου λέει: για τα παιδιά μου. Ύστερα προτρέπω τα παιδιά του να έρθουν να μελετήσουν λίγο την Τωρά, να πάνε λίγο στη συναγωγή. Και μου απαντούν τα παιδιά αυτά: είμαστε πολύ ασχολημένοι, δεν έχουμε χρόνο. Τους ρωτάω: και με τι είστε τόσο ασχολημένοι? Και μου απαντούν: με τη δουλειά μας. Και τους ρωτάω: και για ποιον δουλεύετε τόσο πολύ? Και τι μου απαντούν? Για τα παιδιά μας. Και έτσι συνεχίζεται. Οι άνθρωποι δουλεύουν και δουλεύουν για τα παιδιά τους και τα παιδιά τους με τη σειρά τους δουλεύουν και δουλεύουν για τα δικά τους τα παιδιά, και συνέχισε ο Ραβίνος. Πολύ θα ήθελα να γνωρίσω τελικά αυτά τα παιδιά που γενναίες ανθρώπων εργάζονται για αυτά. Έτσι είναι. Εργαζόμαστε, τρέχουμε από εδώ και από εκεί, για αυτό, για εκείνο. Και πολλές φορές ξεχνάμε να φροντίσουμε και να θρέψουμε τον εαυτό μας πνευματικά, συναισθηματικά και σωματικά. Και γι' αυτό καλέσαμε τη ΗΑΝΝΑΗ ΒΟΑΖ, που την ευχαριστούμε πάρα πολύ που ήρθε ειδικά από το Ισραήλ για να είναι μαζί μας απόψε. Με τη βοήθεια της Καμπαλά θα μας δώσει εργαλεία για να φροντίσουμε το σύνολο του εαυτού μας και να φτάσουμε σε μια ισορροπία στη ζωή μας. Λίγα λόγια για την ομιλήτρια μας, ΗΑΝΝΑΗ ΒΟΑΖ. Η Life Coach ΗΑΝΝΑΗ ΒΟΑΖ είναι μια διεθνώς αναγνωρισμένη επαγγελματίας σε θέματα σχέσεων, επικοινωνίας και αυτοβελτίωσης. Διαμένει στο Ισραήλ και διδάσκει Τωρά για περίπου 40 χρόνια. Τα τελευταία 30 χρόνια διδάσκει τη δυναμική της προσέγγιση σε θέματα γνωριμίων και σχέσεων σε όλο τον κόσμο, συμπεριλαμβανομένου του Hong Kong, των Βρυξελών, του Ισραήλ και του Λος Άντζελες. Το βιβλίο της The Dynamics of Dating είναι πλέον διαθέσιμο και στο Amazon. Without further ado, ΗΑΝΝΑΗ ΒΟΑΖ.
Good evening. Are most people listening to me directly without the headphones?
Yes.
Great. Hi. It's my driver who... the driver. The only Jewish taxi driver in Greece, right? That's for sure. Okay, so good evening. I know I'm supposed to say Kalispera, but I'm trying to learn some extra Greek. So I learned that we're going to talk about isorrhea. Does that sound right? Okay, good. And my Greek, I'm afraid, is not good, but I'm working on it. I was trying to think, what is my connection with Greece, okay? And I suppose it's the love of wisdom. This is, of course, the cradle, the beginning of Sophia, right? So of wisdom, and the famous meeting place of Greek wisdom and Jewish wisdom. You probably know the story about Alexander the Great.
No, we don't know.
You don't?
No, no.
Oh, it's a super story. Okay, so if you don't know it, I'm going to tell you. Because it's also a story about Jerusalem. Are you having trouble understanding? No. Okay. So the famous story, I think it's in the Gemara, it's certainly a historical story, is when Alexander the Great, we call him in Hebrew Alexander Mokdon, he was from Macedonia, right? So you don't need to hear about him, I'm sure you learned plenty about him. And as you know, he was conquering the world in an extraordinary way, spreading Greek culture and Greek wisdom. And he was a great truth seeker, very interesting person, because he was a great fighter, a great military leader, but a man who was looking for truth. And he came to Jerusalem as part of his conquest, part of his fighting. And there was fear in Jerusalem. Now, Jerusalem was this tiny little place inside the walls. Who's been to Jerusalem? Anybody here? Everybody. Right. So you know Yerushalayim now is enormous, but in those days it was just the walls, which is about 1 square kilometer. That's it. Center of the world, everybody's arguing and fighting about it in the newspapers every single day, but it's really 1 square kilometer, the heart of Jerusalem. And as Alexander came with, of course, his enormous army, his great, some of them on horses, some of them walking, and there was an enormous procession walking towards Jerusalem. From Jerusalem down the hill came the high priest, the Kohen Gadol, the high priest of the temple, who was Shimon HaTzadik. And Shimon HaTzadik, as he's walked on foot, he didn't have any horses or fancy soldiers, and he came down the hill with some Kohanim, with some other priests behind him. As he comes close to Alexander, Alexander gets off the horse and bows to him. Everybody's astonished. Why is he bowing down to this Jew, this no army, nobody to respect here? Why is he doing this? And Alexander said, "This is the man who came to me in my dreams before every victory, before every battle, and showed me how to fight and how to win." Mysterious story. It's a mysterious story. I'm not going to explain it. I have no idea to explain it. But this is a well-known meeting of the cultures. And of course, he came into Jerusalem. He was welcomed. Alexander came in as a peace-seeking man, not as the general. And he was actually searching for truth within the Torah. How far he got would be another discussion, but this was an interesting meeting of two cultures of wisdom, very different. What we're going to do today is quite interesting teaching the Jewish wisdom here in Africa. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I think it's interesting, okay? So we can savor the irony or the interesting aspects of that. Okay, so what I was asked to talk about is this balance, isoropi, I was told, okay, or something like that. And we're going to talk about this topic. And you know, what is balance? We're going to explore it on a more philosophical level. And then we will take some very practical tools that we will begin here. You can continue them at home to build this balanced life. So what is a balance? What is a balanced diet? When you have borekas in each hand, is that balanced? I don't know. Okay, so let's think about it. I'm just introduce myself a little bit more. My main job is being a grandmother, mother and grandmother. I have a balanced family, 4 boys, 4 girls. The grandchildren are pretty balanced also, boys and girls. I try to balance my life between the family. My mother lives with me. I had to ask my granddaughter to watch my mother today so that I could come here. So this has been a balancing act as well. Is this okay? Good. And this is the balancing that we all work at, and I'm teaching and I'm coaching, and very often I use what I'm teaching you now. I use this. It is a fantastically useful tool, what we'll get to it towards the end. Okay, so a little bit of patience. In about half an hour, we'll start to really bring the philosophy into our lives. Bezrat Hashem. Okay. So, will we learn everything in 1 hour? Will we cover Kabbalah in 1 hour? No. I'm hoping you will invite me back again. So I'm going to teach a little bit, and then hopefully we'll continue. A little bit on Parashat Shavua before we also take something from the Torah. The very first mitzvah came up last week in the Parashat Bo. The first commandment of God. Till now was stories, amazing stories. And then we start getting okay guys, this is where we start with the mitzvot. And the first mitzvah is, anybody know it by the way? Rosh Chodesh, nice. So Rosh Chodesh, it's actually the Jewish calendar, which for those of you who know a little bit about astronomy is a very complex calendar. Yeah. What is it trying to do? Why is it so complex, by the way?
Because of the moon?
The moon and
the sun.
And the sun, exactly.
And then?
Yes, exactly. So the challenge was always to align, to coordinate between the sun and the moon. The Christians don't need it, they have the sun. The Muslims have the moon, and they do fine. But the Jews have a problem that Pesach has to be in the spring. So Nisan, the month of Nisan, has to kick in the spring. In order to do that, the greatest astronomers of the Jewish people figured this out. Okay? And what were they doing? They were balancing sun and moon. In our lives, what is the deeper meaning of this? The sun, I'm going to ask you soon how many of you are sun people. Sun people get up at the same time every day. They have their schedule, they eat at exactly this time, usually the same meal. They have their workout schedule, their work schedule, everything is very predictable, very routine. Who's like this? You want to raise your hands? Nobody here's a sun person? Oh my gosh. So many moons. That's amazing. Okay. And of course the moon people, which I see are in a huge majority here. So the moon people, of course the moon does this. The moon disappears, the moon grows, the moon disappears again. And the moon is constantly changing. And these are the people, I suppose the rest of you, spontaneous, everything, every day is a little slightly new adventure, willing to try new foods, meeting new people. I'm here because I'm a moon, right? I wanted the experience of coming here and to meet a new community. So really, is it okay to be just sun and moon, or do we need to balance? We do. Obviously we do. There has to be some regularity, some routine, some order in our lives, and then we can add the pimper, the spice, the extra of the moon's changing and adventurousness and spontaneity. We okay? Good. It's a good translator, this guy. Okay. So, first of all, what I'd like you to do, the reason you have pen and paper is because I want you to be actually, do you have anywhere to write? Oh dear, you're going to have to do, so you're going to have to write, just squish in the corner. The first thing, this is a pretty interactive class, okay? We will have lots of questions at the end, so please write down your questions. It's very annoying to forget your questions, okay? So write them down while I'm talking. So the first thing I'd like you to do is draw a picture, a symbol, an icon of balance. For those of you who find that too theoretical, I mean, any picture that for you signifies balance. If it's not so easy for you, oh, you know what, do that first. Do it. First thing that comes to mind, spontaneous. You write it. Can you tell me what you wrote?
A balance.
Okay. Scales, right. What else did you draw? More scales. Anybody else have a different kind of picture? A tree. Nice. Hang on to that. What's your name? Lina? Nice. A tree. For her, tree is balance. Any other pictures that you got? Gentleman over here.
Mind and body.
Ah, you're giving an example. That's stage 2. We're going to get to there in a minute. Any pictures first? Yes. Yin yang, like in Tao. Okay, great. Any other pictures? I know it's hard to give a picture over on a piece of paper. Also yin yang, nice. I will see it. Oh, okay, 2 circles with a line in the middle. Okay, thank you. Now,
the Star of David.
the weights, this way. Star of David, nice. Magen David. Fair. Yours? I don't hear you. Yes. Nice. Okay.
The
Ground is oh, so this is what's your name?
He's a psychiatrist.
Oh, that's a hard name. Okay, I'll try and get it.
Greek name.
Second stage, yeah, I can hear. I'm going to get my ears used to it. Second stage, if you can, draw a few pizza pie, a few circles, and create there different balances. Heaven and earth, different things that for you signify balance. Okay? So make a few circles, put them in half or this way. Okay, you know what I'm saying, yeah? Make a big circle like this, but make a few. Can you see this? Okay? Basically a pizza pie splits into 2. 2? Yeah, balance between 2 things, but I want a few of them. One will be mind, body. One will be heaven and earth. One, you understand what I'm saying now? So each pizza pie should be 2. Yeah, otherwise it's too complicated. Just dualities. Double.
Only double.
Double. For the moment, just balance.
The cross.
Yes, you could draw that. That's now you came up with the icon now. Now we want 2 forces that we want to balance. Once again, we will let the women do this. People do this. Two for the moment. Heaven and earth, mind and body. We will keep it a little easier.
Good and bad.
Good and bad. Any others? How many women? I don't know. Man and woman, thank you. Men, women, you. What did you write for balance?
Sun, wind.
Sun. Okay, good. Chevron, I think to listen because it's important what people are saying. Are you explaining? Okay. All right. So sun and wind.
Ambitions and mediocrity.
Ooh, nice. Interesting that your opposite is mediocrity. All right. Ambition pushing forward, and we'll find another word for mediocrity. Keep that because we'll get to talk about that a little bit more. Okay. Who else came up with a different balance? Yes.
Truth and lie.
Truth and falsehood, truth and lying. Yes. Black and white. Oh yes, work and family. Very
nice and hard.
Yes, one second.
Spirituality, practicality.
Spirituality, practicality, your feet. And
Soul and mind.
Soul and mind.
And the mother inside.
Okay, that's more than 2 there, but okay. Also something to balance. So anybody else want to contribute more before we move on? Yes. Brain and heart, absolutely. Mind and emotion. So we see here that balance is okay. Now, before we continue, I want you to take your pens and balance them for me, please, on your finger. Okay? No, on your finger like this. I want you to balance it. You balancing? One finger. No cheating. No cheating. One finger. How does that feel? Oh, what happened? just fell. Second one, very stressful. Very stressful. You're working at it, but it's stressful. It's very wobbly. It's rolling this way. It's rolling that way.
Very calm, I could say.
How calm? Let's see you do this for 20 minutes now. Okay. So this balancing act is very stressful. It's like me now, I'm going to talk the rest of the lecture on one foot. This is very stressful. So while I was thinking about this talk, I've been thinking about it for a week or two, I wanted to use another word, and probably the tree is a better example. What I'm going to teach today, and what we need to look for, again, this is my basis, my axiom, yeah, is that we need to have integration. We need to have flow. We need to have balance, which is like this. 2 feet on the ground. The balance of a tree in the ground with roots. This is what we're looking for. So I don't know if isorrhapia is the right word, is it?
Yeah, exactly.
It is? Oh, okay, so what does isorrhapia mean besides balance?
Equal inclination.
Equal inclination. That's what it means literally?
Equilibrium.
To both sides.
Equilibrium. Oh, so whatever the Greek word is for this.
It's also equal, it's equal tendencies.
Equal tendencies. So I'm not sure I want that. I don't want the wobbling, okay? And I don't want being pulled in 2 different in different directions. That's no fun. So what we're going to be looking for is integration. What's the word in Greek?
What's the word in Greek?
Integration.
Απαρτίωση ολοκλήρωση.
This is a hard language.
Δεν μπορεί να ολοκληρώσει.
By the way, can everybody hear me also at the back? Okay. Why are you so far away? I can't see you.
You said integration. Integration is your word.
Integration.
Integration definitely is holocleros.
Holocleros, that's it.
Δεν είναι ο μεταφραστής.
Να μας πει ο μεταφραστής.
So what we're looking for, so we're going to read it. It's going to take a long time for me to write it. So the redefining, we're going to redefine this. We're going to define this again as integration, as making us very solid and everything flowing well. Okay? And getting strength, not wobbling, but being very rooted. Okay. In order to do this, we have our chart. So please take it out. I have it in this place. Okay, hang on. Okay, this. Okay. So please look at your.
You have one in English.
I've got mine in English. Yeah, we might have another one over there. If you're happy with English, then we can make. Who wants an English one? Mohammed, can we have another one? I'll get you in a second. We'll get you. Very good. So we'll start meantime. So we have this thing that's. I'm trying to understand what's written here. Okay. What we have here is the beginning of the secret of integration. Okay, this is where it begins. And these are, and I do not teach Kabbalah, I'm not a Kabbalist, you have to be a very open person to teach Kabbalah. But this information was shared through the Baal Shem Tov, through other Hasidic masters. Hasidic masters, they were rabbis of about 1700, 1650, 1700, 1750, the beginning of psychology. This was the beginning of psychology when the rabbis began to understand how we work, how we tick, how the human being, they started to explain it to us. And this is what I'm sharing with you. And I've learned it from more modern rabbis too, of course. But this is how we work. And if you could allow me 10 minutes of explaining how this works, when you get it, it is amazing. Okay, so bear with me. All right, every human being has these 10 forces in him. All right? It begins with Keter. Everything you do, the reason you came here, and by the way, thank you for coming.
Thank you for coming.
My pleasure. So, I didn't even bring you my blessing from Eretz Israel, from Jerusalem, which I wanted to share the blessing before I started, so I'll give it now. So the reason you came is because in your Keter, which is your supraconscious, that's a hard word, it's not unconscious, it's the highest place of the neshama, of the soul. Okay? Somebody mentioned your soul before, right? So, then in our neshama, we have 3 parts. Let me find that in English to make sure it's here. Yes, it's here. Okay. We have our basic beliefs. I believe it's important to learn. I believe it's important to be part of the Jewish community. I believe it's important to socialize and come meet my friends, all the different reasons you came here, okay? All of these basic beliefs made this, keep with Keter, with the stemma, right? Made you desire to come here today. You had other things to do today, right? Everybody had something else that they were thinking of doing, but you all schlepped over here, you all came over here, right? You all made the effort. So because you have the basic belief that this is important, yes, and it's valuable, really listen carefully, it's important, this part. So because of that, this was desirable to you, it's, I hope, pleasurable for you, and you wanted to come, and you came. That's the first thing. And, and for everything you do, from the morning to the evening, is based on basic beliefs. It's important to do gym, it's important to eat healthily, it's important to have a coffee with my wife, it's important to go to my job and try and get a promotion. Okay, because of those basic beliefs, I make my choices. Okay? So, when we understand what our basic beliefs are, we start to understand, and other people of course, we start to understand why we do the things we do. And sometimes, of course, the basic beliefs are not good. Sometimes I have a basic belief about myself that I'm absolutely stupid at mathematics. Or I'm not able to progress in my job beyond a certain place. Or I'm not attractive, I can never find a husband or wife because. Very, very paralyzing beliefs. Not all these beliefs are helpful. But when we start to make them conscious, which we'll talk about, we can start to deal with them. How do we make these beliefs conscious? We work through Chokhmah, Bina, Da'at, which is Sophia, Katanui, and Mosi, right? And you're going to read this from Hebrew, this way. Tick, tick, tick. So you've got Chokhmah, Bina, Da'at, okay? This is the intellectual process. This is already more conscious. Okay? Now, Chokhmah, we started to understand what we believe about balance. That's what we just did. Okay? We just did this in class, in the talk here. So I asked you, draw a picture, and that picture is in your belief system. That's in your Keter. Okay? And some of you had a tree, and some of you had a yin-yang, okay? Different icons of balance. Then I asked you to draw, to say what the balance was. And then we heard mind, body, and some wind, and all the other lovely. That was Bina. We moved from Chokhmah to Bina. Am I going too fast? I'm telling you it's terrific. Okay, so we moved to Bina. Bina is where in our mind we start to analyze, expand on the idea. So first we just had a little picture. Okay, that was Chokhmah. That was coming out of Keter. It started to emerge from the superconscious, from a very high place, a place that I'm not conscious of. We got a picture. Then we got some words. Mind, body, brain, heart. Okay, we were already articulating, we were already thinking analytically. Okay, that's Bina. Everybody with me? If you're not with me, please Clarification and stopping. This is not easy stuff. Okay. Now, da'at, which is gnosi?
Yes.
Gnoshi?
Knowledge. Knowledge.
You have an interesting S here. Okay. So that is when I become conscious. Gnosi is really consciousness. What was before ketel, I wasn't even really aware that that's what I was thinking about balance, has now become, I'm hoping, is becoming clearer. And now that I am conscious, the belief does not control me, I control the belief. All of therapy is about becoming conscious of why you do what you do. Why do you keep having fights with your co-workers? Why do you do things to yourself? Why do you have behaviors that make you feel sick? Why do you eat garbage? I mean, not a little bit, but why do you neglect yourself? All of these things we don't know because it's in keter. But when we bring it into da'at, into consciousness, I do that because I don't respect myself enough, because my parents this, or my whatever it was. But when you get to the stage of da'at, you're already conscious and you can make choices. So if till now you were not living integrated lives, Be'ezrat Hashem, after this talk and with some more work, you will be conscious of what has not been working well for you, which belief or beliefs were making your life not integrated and not harmonious. Everybody with me till now?
Yes.
Yes? Yofi. Okay. All right, and then we have the emotions. So if you can see the Chochmah Bina Dat, you've got the, yes? You have the Chochmah Bina Dat, those are functions of the brain. Then we have the things that we feel. Chesed is what I love. Again, you're reading right to left. Okay, so you've got here Chesed, Gvura, Tiferet, right? You with me? Okay. So you have Chesed is what you love. Now watch my hands. I'm talking like a Jew. Watch my hands, very important. Chesed is any of these emotions. Give me examples.
What you share.
Sharing, yofi. What else? Giving.
Caring.
Sharing, caring.
Feeling.
Spending money. I mean, being willing to spend the money. Generosity. So, yes. Tzedakah comes from chesed. So giving, sharing, caring, all of that, those are forces that every human has. I don't like to use the word love because love became a crazy word. But sharing and caring is still more authentic, okay? So this is chesed. This is another force in the human being. We've done the beliefs. We've done Chochmah Bina Dat. Everybody thinks that way. Then we have the emotions going out, and we have Gvura. Now watch my hands again. Because Gvura is this, or this. What's this?
Stop.
I didn't hear. Stop. Yafeh. Stop. No.
Wait.
Limit. Wait, nice. Wait.
Justice.
Yes, no, very nice. So it's, first of all, it's stopped. So the flow of the chesed is now going through, what do you have written down here, critical analysis? Yes, critical assessment. I want to spend now, I decided I am going to buy a very expensive car. All you men know this, you go into the garage, you wanted to buy a regular, I don't know, what's a regular car around here, Toyota or something, you see this gorgeous sports car or this very, very fancy Lexus or whatever, whoa, this is what you want. And then of course, for women we'll take examples of beautiful dresses or jewelry, and then we come back, Gvura, how much have I got in my bank account here? Do I really need this? Does it fit me? Etc. So Gvura is this. Sorry?
To put limits.
Put limits, exactly. And it's also, which is connected, what else? What does this remind you of?
Borders. Limits.
What else?
Drawers.
I don't hear you.
Drawers.
compartments.
Drawers, oh yes, drawer. That's a nice word. I hope you thought of this one. It's actually organizing. It's actually the structure, the scheduled, getting back to the Sun people that we talked about before.
Reality principle.
So, yes, yes, but the reality of Chesed is also a reality. So the Gevura is the Gevura part of reality, which is stopping the flow of Chesed and saying, wait, let's take this, I'll buy a car, maybe not the original car, but I'm not buying a Lexus, I'll buy something in the middle. That's Tiferet, yes.
So Chesed is not reality and
No, absolutely not. That's why I said I didn't agree. It's all reality. We all have these forces inside of us. The giving over, you want to share a secret, you want to tell somebody and you go, oh, wait a minute, maybe not, maybe part of it, maybe to someone else, okay? All right, so that's Gevura. Yes.
Does that Gevura consists principles?
Also, absolutely nice. Anything that goes together with this is good. And Tiferet is the balance. Haha, I forgot to mention, but did you notice that some of these are on the right or on the left? That's not a mistake. So in Kabbalah, we want to get to the middle axis, the middle line. How many did we reach so far of the middle? We had Keter. What else is in the middle axis? Da'at. And now Tiferet. Tiferet actually means balance and harmony. That's what Tiferet means. So this is where I balance out. I might tell the secret, but only part of it. I'll buy the car, but not the crazy one. Or the dress. Not the crazy one. So now these movements are within me. They're within all of us. Okay? Now, Netzach, I'm going to finish soon, we're going to get onto the practical stuff. For those of you who came here for the Tachlis, we'll get there too. How much time have I got? Till 7:30 at least? Okay. Got time, no? Okay, good. Netzach. Okay. Interestingly enough, in Kabbalah, on the human body, this is Chesed, this is Gevura, this is Tiferet. Netzach is the right leg. And Netzach is whatever we do when we, now this is in the area of action. Who was looking for mind and heart? We've spoken about mind, heart. Now we're going on to action. So, Netzach, Hod, and it's actually Hod, with a chet. You don't have her in Greek? So in Hebrew it's her. Okay, so Netzach Hod Yesod. Okay, Netzach Hod Yesod, you following me? So Netzach is what you do when you stride forward. Netzach is ambition. Who mentioned ambition? The lady over here. Netzach is ambition, focus, goals, overcoming, okay? Overcoming obstacles. It's that move. It's that right leg moving forward. Now the opposite of Hod is not necessarily mediocrity. You said it was. I'm going to give you another option, another choice. So if I'm walking forward, and can you all see me by the way? Not all of you. Okay, if I walk forward, what is my left leg doing?
Keeping the balance.
Yes. Interesting, right? So the left leg is the opposite of ambition, because what happens if we are constantly focusing on ambition and changing and moving, and we all know.
Getting tired.
Yes, exhausted, yeah, more than tired, yes. So this is the chilling, the relaxing, the letting things be. The 6 days of the week are Netzach. We're fixing, we're organizing, we're changing, we're on the phone, okay. What is Shabbat? Shabbat is letting things be. That's why you can't do all those things that people say, what's the problem? Why can't you write? Why can't you use your phone? Why can't you use the computer? Because we're not fixing anything on Shabbat. On Shabbat, we're happy with what is. How many of us need that? All of us do. Enough with the 6 days of Netzach. Enough. People are wearing themselves out. The exhaustion levels, the stress levels, the divorce levels, the fighting levels, the breaking up friendship, all because of endless Netzach. So Hod is the relaxing, surrendering, going with the flow. Watch my hands again. It's that. Everything's good, everything's chilled, everything's great. Okay? That's Hod. Yesod is where all of these things integrate. This is where you start to become that integrated person. Yesod, notice where Yesod is in the on the page. Middle. Okay? When I get the balance between all of these things, all of them, I start to become this incredibly integrated person. Very, very balanced, very solid, very stable, very harmonious. Do you okay with this? Okay. And then, when we do all that, Malchus, or Malchut, is when we can reach out to others. Because when we're good, when we're solid, when we're integrated, when we have that equilibrium, we have that integration, we become amazing individuals. And we can really reach out to other people and lead them. Malchus comes from the word melech. Okay, yes? So you can become a leader, you become a leader of others. Your family, your job crew, we don't all become leaders of the country, but wherever we are, we start to lead our lives instead of our lives leading us. Any questions till now? Clarifications? What was not clear till now? Please ask me before we move on. Because that was a lot of stuff. Sorry to stick so much into one class, but we're good so far, yeah? Any other questions on that before we move on? And can you all hear me there at the back? Yes?
There's a speaker back there.
Good. As long as I'm connected, that's great. Okay. So, give me a minute to catch my breath. Okay. So we have all these forces. And my question is, when I find my piece of paper, excuse me. So then where's my balance? I've still got all of these things going on in me. It's even more complicated than body-mind or than soul-body. I've got all of these forces moving, swirling around inside of me. So how do we create that, the integration? Do I do 10% this, 10% that? Maybe that's right. That's how I make integration. I give 10, 50, one day to my family, one day to my job, one day to my... It doesn't work that way, okay? So what we need to be, where we need to be, is in a place of choosing which is the right thing, which is the right force to use. My friend comes to me and wants to borrow money. One of the best ways of losing a friend, actually. But my first feeling is, of course. So my first feeling is chesed, right? But then I have to stop, I have to do the gevura and get conscious about this. And think about, should I, how much, when, should I be the person to do it? Maybe I'll send them to someone else, because afterwards it can spoil a friendship. So everything that I'm going to do, if I want to be a balanced person, has to be mindful. It has to be conscious. If it's just coming from the ketel, from these undefined beliefs, I'm never going to be integrated. So let me show, let me just, one second, just think about that one. All right. So now tachlis. Tachlis in Hebrew, Yiddish means, okay, that was very nice philosophy. How do we actually do this? So, we're going to make a chamin. Some of you maybe have seen this, but we're going to do it again, and I'll show you why. Makes a real balagan though. I think I need another bowl. I think I miscalculated on this. Okay. So here are the things in, I brought this all the way from Israel, you should know. The potatoes are Greek potatoes and these are Israeli. Do any of you eat chaminados? You eat chamin?
Of course.
So the chaminados are the eggs from the chamin, right? Which is the Shabbat food that sits for many hours on the flame. But in our case, this is our life. Now, these are, can you see them? The beans. Beans, can you see them? Yeah. This size. These are the things in our lives that are, well, they keep us busy. You know, the doctor's appointments and the health and having to go to the supermarket and all that. And they keep us very busy. I don't know about you, but my life fills up very quickly with these beans. Okay? All kinds of stuff. Fixing the car and filling it with gasoline and getting my hair done and my nails done and buying clothes and all that stuff. יש לך עוד כמה? Okay. And these are the really little things. Can you see this is the barley to the small, tiny little. These are the really ridiculous things. Really ridiculous things we get, isn't it? Okay, this is Facebook. This is TV, playing cards, doing things that are really pretty much umami. Oh, you don't have this? Really? Really? Oh, amazing. Okay. So this is a whole, these are all the little things in my life. Now, if I put these here too, I have no room for the important things in life, which are these beautiful Greek potatoes over here. This is my relationship with my sister or brother, or child, just choose. Write down a few potatoes, please, for yourselves. Because look what happens if I put this in, there's no room for the potatoes anymore. I can't fit them in. And I forgot to call my mother again. And I forgot to come and study. I can't get them in. Because I filled my life with the nonsense, with the small stuff. This is the difference between important and urgent. This is from Stephen Covey, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Great business coach. So this is what happens. I fill my life with nonsense, and there's no room for the potatoes. This is my daughter. This is my studying. This is my mitzvah, the mitzvot that I keep. This is my job. Yeah, my job's important. I need to get some money into the house, right? The important things have to go in first. Now, when you put the potatoes in first, something amazing happens. The potatoes are here. This is all going to get done. Because in my ketel, I believe that these are important. Okay? Thank you. I believe that these are important. So I have put all my potatoes in first. Then I'm going to put the beans. Okay? Yeah. I've got room. And I can even put I can even put some nonsense in here. A little bit of WhatsApp and Facebook and relaxing stuff. Why not? I'm going to give this to the Bet Chabad. Anybody who wants to come for Shabbat will eat this chamin. Okay? When I put this in, it's okay. It all fits. How amazing is that? This amazes me every time I see this. Yeah. Okay? Everything went in. What was the secret? Yes. Potatoes first. And we are going to learn how to do potatoes first. Okay? And now we're going to start to get that integration happening in our lives. So, now you have to turn over your page and you get this. Now please use your pens, write whatever you need to. I'm going to show you how to use this. This is a miracle thing. This is something, when I discovered this, changed my life, okay? So you've got it here, you've got rolling and
Stocking.
Goals.
Stocking?
Target. Goals.
All righty. And then you've got the days of the week, right? ΚΥΡΙΑΚΗ.
Κυριακή, Δευτέρα, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday.
Pretty, yeah? Right? Okay. We're working on it. Okay.
Τετάρτη.
Tetari, right?
Pemti.
That's it, sir? Petsiti? No.
Πέμπτη.
P-E-M-P.
Πέμπτη.
F?
P-E-M-P-T-Y.
Okay. So those are the days of the week, right? Now, if you want to get your potatoes in here and live a life that you are happy with and know that it's the right life and this is the life that you want, this is the suggestion of how you do it. And we're going to start small and then you will add slowly. So first of all, on the rolls, okay, over here, sorry, you write down 3 or 4, no, so we'll start this way. First of all, with yourself, spiritual, intellect, please write it down. In the first one, you write spiritual, the first square, okay, here, under rolls, Roman? Roloi, sorry, Roloi. So under
Rolls.
rolls. I think I'll stick to English. Okay, rolls. So under the roles, you write first of all my role in life, which is spiritual, intellectual, emotional, and physical. Write it down because you're going to forget it afterwards. It'll come out. So the first one was spiritual, the first
And
square.
physical.
The second is intellectual. The third one is emotional. And the fourth one is physical. So for the moment, we're talking about me, okay? Getting me balanced. But I want you to add, I'll repeat that, spiritual, intellectual, emotional, and physical. Everybody have 4?
Yes.
Yofi. Can we move on? After that, I would like you to add 2 more roles towards other people. Which relationships would you like to have to improve in your life? You can write your mother, your sister, a friendship, whatever. 2 relationships that you find you have been too busy for till now. Relationships with, it could be again a child, your husband, your wife, of course. Sorry? Your husband, sure. So whichever relationship you want to develop, it might be an aunt or uncle, I don't know. So write them in under the roles. I have about 20 roles that I have to fill at least. Okay, one of your roles, you're going to have more, and we're starting with 2. When you finish the 2, we'll do more. And you'll do more. I don't have time to do it. But this is how we start. Now comes the interesting part. The goals. Stochoi? Stochoi. Okay. I'll never get this right. So the goals are what? Now, this is something I'd like to teach you before we start. A goal has to be smart. So I have, for instance, an intellectual goal. My goal is to study Chinese this year. Okay? Or my goal is to study more Bible this year, Torah or Rambam or I don't know who. Okay? So I have an intellectual goal. Now, how do I make that goal happen? It has to be smart. Now, this I didn't write down for you, I'm sorry. Smart is S-M-A-R-T. A goal has to be, do you have enough room to write this? I hope so. Smart has to be specific. Not I want to be smarter this year. Or I really want to learn this year. That'll never happen. But I want to learn once a week Bible, Chumash or Chinese. You write that down. I want to learn Chinese once a week. So you translate the goal. The goal has to be specific. It also has to be measurable. Smart. So the M is measurable. How will I know that I am making progress? I want to finish this book. I want to take the course in Chinese. It has to be measurable. Otherwise, how do I know I succeeded? Okay? So the goal has to be specific, measurable, attainable. You can reach it. Not some crazy goal. I want to be a millionaire and buy a Greek island. No, we all do. But that's not a goal. Okay? Unless they're having a sale on Greek islands. So, A would be attainable. It has to be a goal. If I'm stupid at languages, I'm probably not going to learn Chinese. Maybe try French. Or Hebrew, something a little easier than Chinese. French is more difficult. Okay. So attainable. It has to be a reasonable goal. A goal that makes sense. Not something, I want to study, I don't know, something that makes no sense for you, that has no value.
And useful.
Yes, it has to be a reasonable goal. And it has to be time framed. By when am I going to finish? And when am I going to do it? So once you write down, learn Chinese, under intellect, okay? So next to intellect, write down a goal for yourself now. Write down a goal for developing intellectually that you would like to do in the next year, let's say till Rosh Hashanah, for the next 6 months. Write it down now. Think about it. A smart
Where
goal.
shall we write it?
You're going to write it under the here. Next to intellect, next to the intellect box, you're going to write down your goal. Okay, your goal. What are you going to do to develop intellectually? Okay? And it has to be specific and measurable and attainable. Has to be able to do it. And when are you going to do it? We'll get to it in a minute. First we'll get the goal. I can give you some examples. I actually wrote a few examples down. You can make a decision to go online and learn some Torah. You can learn Torah, you know, now you can do many wonderful sites like Chabad.org. There are many sites where you can learn Torah. You decide I'm doing 15 minutes twice a week. That's great, because that's realistic. That's realistic. That's probably you can do that. You don't say I'm going to spend 4 hours every evening on learning, because you're not going to do it. So you make your goal. Did everybody write down an intellectual goal? Something that you've always wanted to study. Come on. There's always something that we always wanted to do and we just didn't get to it. Okay? If you want, you can write a spiritual goal. Next to the first box, you can take a spiritual goal. It can be something like take a Jewish song and put it as your ringtone on your phone. Okay? It's doable, it's attainable, it's specific. Be very specific with your words. If you want to get closer to God, how are you going to do that? That doesn't mean anything. If you love nature, buy yourself a beautiful plant. Or grow a tree if you have your own garden. Okay? So make from the role, make the goal. If your role is spiritual, I'm developing the spiritual side in me. What does that? Ask yourselves, what does that mean? Is it through nature? Is it through, through praying? Is it through singing? And then when am I going to do that? I'm going to say a portion of Psalms, Tehillim every day. I'm going to, as I say, contemplate. I'm going to go to the beach once a week. How close is the beach here? Oh, I don't know about you, but I find the sea very spiritual. I don't know about you. So I'm going to go to the beach once every, week or two, and just sit there and listen to the waves. That's it. That's it. Okay? Gorgeous. That's perfect. When you've done that for your spirituality, I'm coming to the end now. When you've done that from the spirit for your spiritual side, you chose a goal. You chose a goal for your intellectual side. You chose a goal for emotionally, what makes you feel good. I'm going to call my friend once every so-and-so. I'm going to eat my favorite food. For some of us it's chocolate. Whichever it is. What makes me feel good? It's important to feel good. Because when you're a happy person, other people are happy around you. So take a goal that is smart, specific, measurable, and that's going to be my goal for emotional happiness, okay? And physically, you decided finally you're going to do some gym, some physical workout. I'm going to walk instead. I'm going to walk to park my car a little bit further away, and I'm going to walk. Already a lot of.
But when you positive thoughts,
yes, yes.
It's very difficult to succeed.
3 every day. 3 every day. You see? What's your name? Lucy? So Lucy's saying positive thinking. I don't know what to do with that. What do you mean positive thinking? I have no idea how to start. But 3 times a day to say thank you.
Oh, yeah,
I think I can do that. I think I can do that, right? So the 3 times a day thank you. By the way, when Jews get up in the morning, you know that, we say modéani. We say thank you. And we say, thank God I have eyes. Thank God I have legs that work. Thank God I can move. Okay? Not so simple. So it's actually built into the Siddur, into the Jewish prayer book, is a lot of thank yous, a lot of positive thinking, or looking forward to. But again, you'll choose. If your goal is positive thinking, then you write down how you're going to do it and how often. And then, very simple, you put it in your schedule because those are your potatoes. So Tuesday afternoon is when I do this. So you take your goals. You take those goals, you put them in the schedule like a dentist appointment. Zehu, it's going to be done at that time. The same way I'm so careful to get there for work, or I'm so careful to go to the doctor or to get my eyeglasses fixed. This is for me a potato. I want my life to be full of meaningful things that balance me. And the only way I can do that is if I have it scheduled very clearly. 1 or 2 points. Sometimes you can combine the two. Those of you who are very, very busy, you can combine spiritual and emotional. Just do the spiritual stuff with a friend, or with your wife, or with someone you love. So when you go to the beach, you go with somebody, and you will have at the same time the spiritual. What's that? You have to see if it's working for both. So sometimes you can combine. Last thing before I finish, sometimes once every 2 weeks is enough. We can't always do things every week. You're going to get stressed out again, and this whole lecture was a waste of time. So, if once every 2 weeks or once a month, but it's got to be in the schedule. When it's in the schedule, you have that magnificent life that you want to lead. So I just wanted to finish with. So, can I just summarize a minute and then we'll take questions? What did we do? We looked at the dynamics of the human being. Yes, we looked at the spirot from Keter down to Malchut. Okay, we went through that. Then we prioritized. We made priorities with our potatoes. We decided what was important in our lives. We wrote them down, right? Maybe you need to add some. We need some time for that. And then we figured out exactly how to schedule them that they will become real. And may God bless you to be successful in this and to have beautiful, integrated lives, being happy within yourselves and making the people around you happy. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Any question, clarifications first? If it was clear, then just questions. I'll try. Anything that wasn't clear or...
Let's
Yes,
make
please.
a joke. I feel that we are over-programmed by social conditioning.
Yes.
And therefore you offer us another programming.
Oh,
And,
nice point.
Yeah, thank you.
Say your name again.
Athanasiou.
Okay. So, this can, thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah, this is very...
This gentleman said something very important. I have just stressed him out even more, because now he's got more work to do. So one of the things, that's another lecture by the way, you have to invite me for another lecture, but there is, one of the things that we need to do is eliminate some things in our life. By the way, a lot of this stuff, if you get rid of the stuff at the top, and if you get rid of the beans, you will find that you have more time. You need to get rid of, we need to get rid of certain things in our life that's taking up time, or relationships that are draining us and exhausting us. There are things that sometimes we have to remove from our lives, but the way to build the balanced life with the potatoes, with the important things there, I don't know another way of doing it.
Easy to discern the different elements, and therefore you have to make a good job for yourself.
And so another point that you're bringing, you're great, that's a great question. Very often we cannot do this alone, and the suggestion would be to do this with someone you admire, with a mentor, to help you make those distinctions and those discernments between what's really important and what's less important. Thank you for pointing that
Thank you,
out.
dear.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate my question.
I wanted to, this is both a question, the first where do you use the equilibrium, Sophia?
Yes.
And a thought.
All right.
While you were watching my finger, you said, you're managing. But it was not really that I was managing, I was balancing it, I was trying to keep it in balance. So there are two types of balance in life.
Yes.
One type is that you use force to keep it, and one that all nature moves to this equilibrium that you don't need force anymore. So I guess that we should be moving from this, what I was doing,
Yes,
to that.
thank you. That's a great summary of how this is built. Yes, thank you. So we're moving from the pen to the chamim, to the...
Can you reframe
Sorry?
Can you reframe just to...
Could you reframe what he said?
Also, he was saying that at the beginning we started with a balance that was so difficult and so stressful. But we finished with a balance which is a beautiful meal. It's not something that you're fighting for, it's flowing. It's still difficult. I'm not saying easy life I don't know about. But a worthwhile life, a life of meaning, and a life of purpose, that we can build.
Any other sentences?
First of all, thank you very much. I greatly enjoyed your lecture. And can we say that when we are not happy, we are not in balance, and when we have balance, we will be happy? Can we make this statement?
Okay. I'm going to it's a great question. You can see that this is the philosophia, that this is a place of philosophers here. Probably Judaism would say that what we're looking for in life is not happiness. Sorry, Americans. Americans say, what is the purpose of life? The pursuit of happiness. In Judaism, it's the pursuit of purpose. Bereshit, the first word of Torah, of the Bible, is Bereshit. For Reshit. It doesn't mean in the beginning. It means something else. For Reshit. And it's for Torah, for Israel. So fundamental need of every human being is not happiness. The need is purpose. When we live purposely, we are happy. When we live purposefully, that's the secret. When we chase happiness, happiness runs away. When we chase purpose, and our life is meaningful, full of potatoes, there we go. Okay.
So it's inevitable to be happy when you find your purpose?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. When you have the purpose, you will have the happiness. Yes. Okay. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you.
So, you just reminded me of a story that I heard from my father about something that was said in Pirkei Avot in Economica Compatero. It says that someone that runs away from respect, from honor, then honor runs away after him. And someone runs away from him. Exactly. Someone that runs after honors, the honor runs away from him. Someone that runs away from the honor runs after him. So one Jewish person came to a rabbi and says, I don't understand. I'm never after honors. I run away from every time they want to honor me. But honors don't come to me. He says, no, but you need to run away without looking behind your back to see if the honor is chasing you. So, yes, we have to look for purpose, not looking behind our back if happiness is coming. It will come. This was my process. So, ευχαριστούμε πάρα πολύ την ομιλήτρια μας, ΗΑΝΝΑΗ ΒΟΑΖ, για τις ιδέες και τις τεχνικές που μας έδωσε για μια πιο ισορροπημένη ζωή. Ανυπομονώ και να τα εφαρμόσω και πείτε μου καλή δύναμη. Ευχαριστούμε πολύ τον Ανδρέα, τον αγαπητέ Ανδρέα, για τη μετάφραση. Και την Conference Ελλάς και τον Αλβέρτο Χαζάν για το τεχνικό εξοπλισμό. Και φυσικά όλους εσάς που ήρθατε και είσαστε κοντά μας. Πριν τελειώσουμε, θέλω να σας δείξω ένα μικρό βιντεάκι 2 λεπτών που με άγγιξε πραγματικά. Όσοι είναι από εδώ, παρακαλώ, αξίζει. Σηκωθείτε λίγο και ελάτε από πίσω. Είναι 2 λεπτά. Maybe we can ask, should we ask Christina to close the lights? No, okay. reclaim the lost art of communication. Είσαστε από εκείνους που πιστεύουν ότι η τεχνολογία έχει πάρει τα ενία της επικοινωνίας μας. Είσαστε από εκείνους που έχουν συνειδητοποιήσει ότι αυτό δεν μας κάνει καλό και ότι ήρθε η ώρα να επανακτήσουμε τις αληθινές ανθρώπινες σχέσεις. Ο Ραβίνος Μέντελ Χέντελ έτσι πιστεύει και ξεκινά αυτή την εβδομάδα, τη Τρίτη πιο συγκεκριμένα, μια σειρά διαλέξεων με τίτλο «Η τέχνη της επικοινωνίας», αναπτύσσοντας τις επικοινωνιακές μας δεξιότητες μέσω από τα διδάγματα